Ethics and actually do you need to get the rest of your body.
You gonna get my glasses and my stuff that's in the closet?
Nope. Get the pictures. No, you have no right to get this.
Cool. Alright, that's the main important things.
Just because your name is Chad doesn't mean your logo has to be cookie cutter. Simply type in your name
Hey,
in
y'all.
the industry.
How am I feeling post?
So we're gonna watch this video. This video that was leaked by Christy, where Gypsy and Christy show up to Ryan's house. Hey, patience. We're gonna watch that video. Obviously, I know that this was manipulation at its finest. They were trying to get a reaction out of him. It made me upset and like visibly anxious for Ryan. I was like, why are they still continuing to try to fuck with this man? Like, leave him alone. This shit has dragged out and out and out and out and out since last March. Hey, Brittany. Hey, X. This shit has been dragging on for so long. Like, at this point, you can just tell that it is out of vindictiveness. It is out of spite. It is immaturity. And it's old news at this point. And it's like, why does she continue to keep dragging it on and on and on? Let it go. But the more that she puts out information about Ryan to portray him in a negative light, the more she makes herself look bad. I don't think that she realizes how this is going to negatively impact her. She does. She loves drama. I don't think she realizes how this is all going to negatively impact her. I think that she has such a huge ego that she thinks that she can do whatever she wants and people are still going to love and adore her. People are still going to, tell her that she's doing a great job. So one thing that I found out today was that we all know that Gypsy went on Kaylin Lowry's podcast, remember? Gypsy, hey, Susan. Remember when Gypsy went on Kale Lowry's podcast? Well, Gypsy named her YouTube channel Magic in the Chaos. Kale Lowry's podcast is named Kale in the Chaos. So she obviously does not have a creative or original bone in her body that she has to steal everything from everyone else, even her stories, down to her stories, her abuse stories. They're not hers. None of those abuse stories are hers. They're Disney stories fantasized into human interaction, because that's the only thing that Gypsy knows. Hey, Nikki. Hey, Amber. That is the only thing that this girl knows is Disney princess stories, because she thinks that her life is a princess fairy tale, and it's not. She is not Aurora being saved from the tower because her evil stepmother, stole her and kept her away from all of her family, all of her life. Like, that shit is just so far from reality, but that's what she thinks is happening. Like, in her mind, she thinks that she's living in a real, like, fairy tale story. And it's borderline, like, psychotic at this point. Yes, her Switzerland comment shows how out of touch with reality she really is. She had no idea. She thought Ken wasn't getting the joke. But it was her that wasn't getting the World War II reference. And I know that when I got my GED, geography and history was not something that was on the GED test. It wasn't. It was more math and like English and comprehension skills, basically. So her not getting the World War II reference, I can totally understand, because it wasn't like she was educated in school, you know? And we know she's mentally handicapped. She's mentally challenged. Hey, Lision. Hey, Kristen. We know that she's mentally handicapped, so she probably wouldn't be able to retain a lot of information anyway. Kristen, I'm not sure that Nicholas is getting another trial. I don't know that information. That's a great question. She thinks she's living in a Twilight remake. She thinks Ryan is Edward and Ken is Jacob. Like, those dudes. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not. But like I said, neither one of those men would be. Would I be interested in either one of those guys? I would not be interested in either one of them men. Neither one of them are my type in any way. But the fact that she thinks that she's Bella and, you know, one of them is Edward and the other one is Jacob just shows you how far removed from reality she truly is. Yeah, Corinne, I do believe that they were both desperate. Do I think it started out as like romantic? I don't know. Prison Princess, hey Liana, Prison Princess on TikTok says that women in prison reach out to men on the outside specifically for a couple of things. They reach out, number one, for somebody to like help them get through their time financially, emotionally, all of those things. She said sometimes they're even looking for a man that will allow them to come and stay at their home whenever they get out. And that Ryan was only a trick to Gypsy. And I can see that. I don't think that he wants to see that, but I can definitely see where that would be true, where, you know, Gypsy would have been looking at Ryan as just a trick, right? Somebody that she can use, somebody that she can manipulate, and somebody that she can get what she needs out of and then walk the other way. I don't think that she necessarily thought through like the marriage and like actually having to live with him and actually having to be intimate with him. I don't think she thought any of that through until it was actually reality. Of course, we all know that she married him because she needed a way out. She needed a place to stay whenever she left prison. And having a home to go to with someone that can vouch for her and say, yes, she can come and stay here. Because the way that it works when you are paroled, the person that you're saying you're going to go and live with is basically taking responsibility for you while you are on parole, saying that I'm going to ensure that this person follows the laws of society, follows the state laws, follows the city laws, and, you know, follows the rules of probation. Like, that's the deal. So he was responsible for her until she left and went to her dad's house. And hey JJ, obviously she wanted someone to be responsible for her so that she could get out and do whatever she wanted to do. She made it very clear in the first episode of Prison Confessions that everything that she did up until that point was to get paroled. Like, she's telling us that everything that she did was to get paroled. She didn't do anything because, hey, I need to be a better person. I need to, learn from my mistakes. Everything she did was to get paroled. She told us that's what she wanted. Hey, Roma. Lori, we've been going back and we've been watching the actual documentaries again, listening to actually Gypsy speak herself. Hey, Misty. And we are going to get back to watching that, but I just wanted to start with a little bit of a chat. Yeah, she's not going to be a good parent. It's going to all be performative, because being a mom is the most selfless job that you can have, because it is all about catering to someone else's needs. And every time we hear her talk, it's all about my needs, my needs, my needs. I've made it clear what I need from Ken. I want to go do these things when I get off parole, as if she doesn't have a tiny human that she's responsible for. What you want is sometimes secondary to what you have to do to make sure that you're taking care of your baby. And I think she thought that a lot of her followers on TikTok were going to go and run to her YouTube page and start following her on YouTube. And let's see, I'm not going to jump on to her actual page, but it looks like as of now, she's got almost 8,000 subscribers. That's still a lot of people. That's still a lot of people that are being supportive. However, 8,000 out of 9 million, that's not even 0.001%. So when you look at it in those types of numbers, it doesn't even compare. It doesn't even contrast. It looks like she's put up 16 total videos. Most of them are videos that everyone has already seen on TikTok. So hopefully the people that are supporting her, I don't know. I don't want to click on any of the videos to give her a view. No, the comments are still off. Yeah, all this shit is shit we've already seen. All of it is stuff that we've already seen, and she doesn't have the comments on still. It's still a lot of people, but when you think about it, 8,000 out of 9 million, I mean, there's no comparison. 8,000, 9 million, like I said, it's not even 0.001%. And some of these people are probably only hate following. That's my question too. Why follow if you can't comment? She won't get engagement if she keeps the comments off. That's what YouTube is about. YouTube is about engagement. Meaning, if you're posting a video, people are probably watching right now because everyone's talking about it on TikTok. But once people aren't talking about it anymore, if she doesn't actually put out any kind of good content, people are not going to be interested. They're not going to want to watch. It'll fall off. You do need engagement for money, because you have to have at least 1,000 followers, which now she does. So now she can actually apply to be in the creator rewards program through YouTube. However, you have to have a certain amount of watch time and views in order to monetize. So you do have to have 1,000 followers, but it's also based on watch time and how many views you have. Something along those lines. I can't remember. It's been a while since I got monetized. Well, I'm curious if a lot of this is like retaliation because Ryan created a Cameo account. He started charging $50 and now he's charging $100. So I think she's mad. Like, how dare you steal my spotlight? How dare you steal my fame? You know? I don't know if she's getting another season. It's very possible that she could, because even though we think the ratings were low, she was still ranked the 3rd highest show on YouTube with 200,000 viewers, averaging 200,000 viewers each episode, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I mean, who knows? Who knows? Her being 3rd is weird, but it is what it is. I don't think she ever asks Ken or asked Ryan what they wanted or needed from the relationship. I don't think that she's ever concerned about anybody else. I think that she's always concerned about herself. What she wants and needs is the only thing that matters to her. That's what I'm saying, Andina. Even though 8,000 subscribers is a lot of people, it's nowhere near 9 million. Like, it's just not. It's just not. It's still a lot. It's still a lot of people, a lot of support. However, it's not going to be what she thinks it's going to be. It's just not. Because her content sucks. I mean, she doesn't do anything interesting. Her name is only going to go so far on YouTube. It's only going to go so far. I think she did. I think she bought a lot of the 9 million followers. And she might find a way to buy followers on YouTube too. I don't know if you can, but she might try to figure out a way to do it. Just because a lot of people think that the optics is what matters. And that's what sucks about this internet society shit, is because it doesn't matter, if you have integrity or anything like that. People see that you have a lot of followers, and that's all that matters to them. They're like, oh, they must be popular. Let me follow them. Let me see what they're doing because they have all these followers. It doesn't really matter if that person is actually a good person or not. And that's what sucks, because a lot of these people with a lot of followers have zero integrity, zero morals. And the question is she even going to be able to monetize on YouTube? She is still a convicted felon who isn't just convicted of, a small crime. She's convicted of murder. So what are YouTube's community guidelines? Is there a clause that says that convicted criminals convicted of heinous crimes are they allowed to profit off of the platform? That's what. Hold on. That's what we need to find out. That's what we need to know. what are YouTube's community guidelines? Is she violating any of them? And then make sure that once we know if she's violating the guidelines, to report. I don't know if she got banned from TikTok or if she only got demonetized, because there are other creators on TikTok that were criminals, but they were actually doing something positive with their platform. They were trying to make change. They were sharing stories. They were, telling other people, like, don't go down this path that I was on, how to reform, all these different things. Like, they were sharing positive things about their prison journey. And some of the ones that I followed said that they couldn't be on TikTok anymore because of the new community guidelines, and that they were coming over to YouTube. However, I don't know what YouTube's community guidelines are. Yes, like Amanda Dove, I love her. And Jessica, I love them both. So I don't know, where YouTube stands on criminals that have committed crimes like the one that Gypsy did. It's not a fucking, 3 strikes you're out type of shit, petty crimes. She committed a very egregious and heinous crime. And I don't think that any platform should allow her to monetize and profit. I don't think that Lifetime should have been allowing her to do it. I don't think TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, I don't think any of them should be allowing her to profit off of her platform because of the influence that she has. Hey, Miss Busy. Her content is just boring. There's no oomph in it. Like, she has no personality. You can tell she's fake as fuck. It's just very, it's very dead. I shouldn't have used that word. Yeah, it's generic. Family vlogging never ends well. Hey, Jesse, a lot of the family vloggers a lot of the big ones have been committed of crimes. They've committed crimes and they've been charged with crimes, because you cannot have integrity and values when you are demoralizing your children and putting them in front of the camera and profiting off of everything that they do. Like, it's hard. It's hard to, create boundaries in that type of environment. And like, you're forcing your kid to constantly, thank you so much, Garden Mom. You're forcing your child to be in front of the camera and perform all the time. And it's like, they're not going to have a life. Everyone is very upset about Gypsy not keeping her word. But when has Gypsy kept her word? I mean, let's just be totally real. Y'all, I need to get my my robe. I'm getting a little chilly. When has she kept her word about anything? She hasn't kept her word about one thing that she's said she was going to do. Since the minute she got out of prison, she has been making false promises to everyone about everything. And I don't know if I have mentioned it before, but it's called future faking. It's called future faking. You tell people that you're going to do something, and then you never fucking do it. And a lot of times people forget about what you say you're going to do, and they don't even remember. Like, they just don't remember what you say. Yeah, whoever watches her mommy advice needs their head checked. But that's the thing. I don't think that anybody is actually watching for advice. I think people are trying to be supportive of her because they feel bad. Hey, Hannah. Yeah, it's hard to remember what you say all the time, but when you are a public figure, it's kind of your job to remember what the fuck you say you're going to do. You know, what promises you make to people, it's kind of your fucking job to remember so that you can follow through with the things that you say you're going to do, because you have a platform of people that are counting on you to keep your word. And she's not that type of person. She doesn't keep her word for anything. I mean, the only thing that I've seen her keep her word about is committing the crime, getting pregnant, and getting paroled. She did everything that she could do to get those three things. Those three things. Outside of that, she hasn't honored her word about anything. Nothing. And she wants people to believe that once she gets off parole, that she's going to start advocating for prison reform. You don't need to wait until you get off parole to advocate for prison reform. You can literally do that now while you're on parole. You don't need to have access to prisoners to advocate for prison reform. You can still do prison reform and not talk to the prisoners. But it feels weird that she is so desperate to get in contact with other prisoners. Why? Why? It makes you wonder, is she trying to plot something with these other prisoners? Because she's a danger to society without even communicating with any other prisoners. But if she's out on the outside and now all of a sudden communicating with prisoners on the inside, yep, to take their stories and to potentially cause some sort of chaos. My 40. She gets off of parole on June the 25th. And you know, I'm conflicted about how I feel about Ken. Now, I have stuck up for Ryan a lot. I have stuck up for Ryan a lot because I don't think that he deserves any of the shit that he's going through. And I still feel like he doesn't deserve anything that he's gone through. Like, I don't feel sorry for him, but I do have empathy for what he's going through, right? And I do have empathy for Ken as well. The biggest issue, the biggest moral conflict that I have within myself, what I'm fighting with my own self about is, yes, these men knew that they were reaching out to somebody who had committed a murder, but in their mind, she was an abused child. So I'm conflicted with, they didn't know who she was until after they got, deeply involved with her. But then I'm also conflicted about the fact, like, why would you even put yourself in a position to communicate with a murderer? And then not just in a position to communicate with a murderer, but to become romantically involved with a murderer. And Ken, not just romantically involved, but you put your D inside her and now you have a baby. Like, why would you give a murderer a child? Now, it would have been one thing if they had like if she had committed this crime, or if she had had the baby before the murder, right? Because then it's a completely different story. But she didn't. She had the baby after. And everybody keeps saying money, but what money? What money? They're not making that much money. They're not. They're not making that much money off of Lifetime. Clearly not making a ton of money if she's on YouTube trying to beg for views. Like, she's clearly not making that much money. Do I think that they had high hopes that it was going to be a lot of revenue coming in? Yes, I do believe that. I believe that they thought that because society had been so sympathetic and empathetic towards her when she first got out, that they were going to be able to monetize quite heavily off of the story and continue to profit, right? However, her behavior started to do a downward spiral 3 months after her getting out. So it's like people started to slowly lose interest and support 3 months into everything. And it's just gotten worse and worse and worse over time. So she's not making as much money as everyone thinks. So I went to TickLeap, and remember I told y'all that I checked to see how much Gypsy had made in the last year off of TikTok. And she's made $10,000 off of TikTok. Guess how much Ryan's made off of lives? Just guess. You guys are close. So he started, yeah. So Ryan started going live once him and Gypsy separated. So what was that? End of March going into April. Since then, he's made almost $8,000, which is good. I mean, that's a fair amount of money. I'd be fucking happy with that as just going live on TikTok and getting gifts, right? You want to know how much Selena Graves makes? Hold on, I'll find out. Oh, and I also checked the Resilient Jenkins. The Resilient Jenkins have only made $100 on live gifts in the past year. Only $100. He should go live more often. You talking about Selena Grave official? Yeah, she's made $830,000 since 6/14 of 24. Yep, she's made almost $1 million. Selena has. I don't know her, Caddy. Yeah, so Selena is making this is, you can quit your job money. Yeah, you can quit your job. You don't need to work anymore. You can totally make a living off of TikTok. So when you think about it in terms like that, Gypsy is not making that much money. Lisa Richards, I don't know who that is. She likes the rugs. Oh, man. Well, we know what she's using her money for. Yeah, let's not forget taxes because you do have to pay taxes. So Ryan's making $100 now off of every cameo, and I've seen like 3 come across my FYP where Ryan was doing a cameo, and then Cameo even shouted Ryan out. I don't think Morbid goes live on TikTok. I think he only goes live on YouTube, so I don't think he's making any money on TikTok. He's made $156 since August. Morbid. Because I don't think he goes live on TikTok at all. I know that they both go live on YouTube quite frequently, so I'm sure he makes good money on YouTube. Sir Morbid did? Well, if he went live, he made $18 last night on live. Yeah, last night he made $18. So I think that we need to... Oh, no. I'm sorry. No, he made $124 last night in the live. I'm good. How are you, Brittany? White Scorpion, I have no idea what you're talking about. No clue. You seem misinformed about what's going on in this life, which is not surprising. You didn't think I would know. Okay, bye. I'm looking at TickLeap. You do have to have a monthly subscription in order to see like what everyone's making. Actually, when you point 1, you've got 4 pointing back at you. Okay, so let me find this. Is it this one?
Left him in March of last year. This.
No, I don't. This is a video that was leaked on TikTok where Gypsy went to Ryan's house after the separation. This was like 2 months after they separated. And I want you to pay attention that Pixie, when she runs out of the door, you can hear Gypsy calling for her, and she ignores Gypsy and runs to Christy. I'm not saying Christy is a better person. I'm just saying you can clearly see that Pixie was not interested in going to see Gypsy. She ran right past her. She says, I just want to get my pictures. But you couldn't call and ask him to set this stuff outside. No, you show up with the police unannounced with the fucking police with somebody recording and 5 other people. It was an ambush. It was a fucking ambush.
I don't want to remember.
And then Gypsy, you want me to wait out here? No, bitch. You left me, you cheated on me, and I'm going to let you back in my house. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. No, I don't want you in my home. Yes, wait the fuck outside with the police.
That was nice.
This was on Case Studies page, on his YouTube page. I don't know who gave him this video. I don't know where this video came from. Brittany, no, I don't think Gypsy and Ken are gonna last, but my opinion is my opinion. You know, I'm not in their relationship. And White Scorpion, yeah, when you come on here and you start talking about pointing fingers and 3 being pointed at me, I am very well of my own mistakes and transgressions in this world, and I've done everything to become a better person. Maybe you should tell that to your friend Gypsy. And then here's Christy saying, "There's more than that." You want me to believe that this abused girl has 3 fucking totes of photos? She was so abused in her life that she has 3 fucking totes full of photos. Abused child. I don't know any abused children who have this many fucking pictures. Do you? Because I don't. I don't know any abused child who has this many photos. Look at how big these totes are. Look how big it is. That was just one tote. Let me try to rewind it. Hold on. You can't really see it, but she says it's kind of heavy. So I'm going to assume it's pretty big. Oh, there you go. Look how big that tote was. Did you see how big that tote was? Let me rewind it. Look how big that tote was. That's one tote. One. There's 2 more. Brittany, she went over there to harass him and to get her pictures because she couldn't fucking wait to get everything from her attorney. Ryan was going to give everything to the attorney, but she showed up to his house unannounced with the police and 5 other people. It was an ambush, y'all. It was a fucking ambush. It was an ambush. They wanted to intimidate, bully, harass, and manipulate the situation. They were trying to manipulate the situation. That's what they were trying to do. Yeah, the video got leaked because Christy sent it to somebody and then content creators sent it out to whomever. They want to continue to portray Ryan as this terrible fucking dude. But if he's so fucking terrible, why for the last 3 episodes, this week's episode, the week before, and the week before, was Gypsy trying to reach out to him to get closure, to become friends, to have a conversation if he's such a bad dude? Why was she trying to reach out to him all this time? Because he's not a bad dude. Yeah, and then to say, you've been my comfort, my safe place, because I knew you'd never hurt me. Yet here you are trying to purposely hurt him by leaking this fucking video. What did he do to deserve this? What did he do to deserve this treatment? Ryan has done nothing to Gypsy other than reach out to her, which he probably shouldn't have. And irregardless of that, nobody deserves this type of abuse and treatment on such a fucking public platform. Like, it's one thing if you're doing all this shit behind the scenes and nobody knows about it, but you're doing this on a public platform. How was he controlling, White Scorpion? He doesn't sound very controlling.
Amazon. Yep, always did.
Yes, she wanted to see him. She wanted to see him. Yeah, I know it's an old video. I know it's old. I'm not stupid. I'm not under the impression that this is new. I know it's old. I saw what she looked like. She was still with her blonde hair at that point, and she wasn't pregnant. She had just gotten her teeth done. Girl, please. You think that's controlling? Pfft, get the fuck out of here.
Outside the little storage area.
White Scorpion says, remember when Gypsy was texting and Ryan wasn't even looking at the road while driving? What is so controlling about that scenario? Please help me understand. What is so controlling about that? I don't hear Ryan is trying to tell Gypsy to do this, that, or the third, or not do this, that, and the third. Like, that's not controlling. That's an innocent situation in a car. Literally nothing is controlling about that. Nothing. And Christy, he's probably more pissed off that I'm here. Well, how else was she going to get there? Dumbass. She doesn't have a fucking license at this point because she's a fucking criminal.
I say pigs. She's so cute.
The dummy is starting to wear off a little bit.
Oh yeah, how many shots? How many shots did he have?
They kept going back for more. So the dummy, right?
And they went to Ryan's house. They did all this, and they're just casually having a conversation about her getting numbing in her mouth and this, that, and the other. And it's like, girl, do you not have any fucking idea what you are doing right now? And you are casually talking about your dental work while you're sitting outside. your soon-to-be ex-husband's house that you cheated on, and I don't even think she's pregnant at this point, or I don't even know if she's found out that she's pregnant at this point. But you've left your husband, you cheated on him with another man, you're about to find out that you're pregnant, and you show up at his house with the police, and you're casually talking about your fucking dental work. Like, this just goes to show that she has absolutely no fucking empathy for anyone. She does not know how to have compassion and courtesy for anything.
But at least you'll have some new pregnancy. I know you don't think that's all you get, because you have a lot more.
And Christy, I hope you don't think that that's all you're getting, because you have a lot more.
Your kitchen.
Look at how big that fucking tote is. Look at how big that tote is. Full of pictures. If you have been abused by a parent, do you have that many photos of yourself and your abuser? I'd love to know. I'd love to know. Because I don't have any. None. It could be fan mail. Good point. Good point. It could be. But she said pictures. And when you scroll in, it looks like pictures. Like that looks like pictures. It doesn't look like mail. Those actually look like photos. You can tell the difference between letters and pictures, obviously, because pictures have color in them. Yeah, it looks like pictures. I don't have that many pictures of when I was abused. And I don't have any pictures of my abuser. None. And look at how she's standing, all smug. Did you see how smug she looked?
Get the rest of your
Get the rest of your clothes, Christy says. Christy says, get the rest of your clothes. Gypsy wasn't even going to ask for that shit. You can hear Christy kind of encouraging her to say things.
Get the rest of your clothes.
You hear that?
You gonna get my dresses and my stuff that's in my closet?
No. Pictures. No, you have no right to get this.
And she says, no, you have the right to get your stuff. She doesn't live there anymore. Technically, she was never on their lease because she's a felon and she couldn't be on the lease. So technically, Ryan does not have to let her back into that home, period, to get anything. Because number one, that's Ryan's house. Number two, she wasn't on the lease. So technically, anything that is in that home is his. Because she legally was not even supposed to be staying there. Because she's not on the lease. Because everyone over 18 has to be on the lease. And they have to go through a criminal background check. Remember, in one of her lives, she said they were having trouble getting her put on the lease at Ryan's apartment. Which means that she has absolutely no legal right to anything in that house. Nothing. And he said, you can get everything else through your lawyer. There should have been absolutely no fucking reason, no reason at all why Gypsy showed up to his house to do this. She could have gotten everything, the pictures, the clothes, everything from her attorney. But they showed up to try to portray him as this big, bad, horrible fucking person because Gypsy just wants people to hate him. And it's like, for what? Because you can't have him? Because you chose Ken? You're pissed off that now you can't have him? Because you chose some half-wit with no education because you thought that he looked better than Ryan, but treats you like shit? Yeah, they leave things so they can come back. It was all planned. She knew she was going to do this. I thought Ryan did amazing. I thought that he was calm. He was respectful. He gave her what she originally came to the house for. The original ask at the very beginning of the video was for the pictures. And that's what he gave her. He gave her the pictures and said, everything else you can go through your attorney. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, I can play it again, and this time I'll be quiet.
Left him
Hold on.
in March of last year. This.
Okay, hold on. So I fast forwarded. I fast forwarded through what Case was saying, but Case said that this was in May. And Christy says he's probably in bed.
How you doing? Hey, you're going with the lawyers. Don't you remember? Why don't you call Kyle?
He said, we're supposed to go through our lawyers. Don't you remember? I'm going to rewind it again.
How you doing? Hey, you're going with the lawyers. Don't you remember? Why don't you call Kyle?
Did you hear him? He specifically said, we are supposed to be going through our lawyers. Don't you remember? Why did you call the cops? She thinks the law doesn't fucking apply to her. She's like, go through the lawyers. The lawyers can suck my tits. I'm going to go over there and get my stuff because she thinks she's entitled to be able to do it.
I just want to get my pictures.
Okay, I'll get you the pictures. I don't want to write it down.
They want to wait out here.
Oh, that's nice. That's more than that.
Jake, can you grab this for me? It's kind of heavy. Might need some paper.
I'd wait on it. That's my 15-year-old. He doesn't look like he's 15, guys.
I don't know if it was a 3-hour drive or not. I would assume so if they drove from Cutoff to Lake Charles is where he lives. So I would assume it was.
No, you won't.
It was in May of last year, 24. May of 2024. 1 year ago. Ken wasn't there.
Amazon.
Right, one thing I like.
Yep. Always think.
So Gypsy thinks that Ryan stole her fame. Yeah. Can you believe that? Gypsy thinks that Ryan stole her fame. Yeah.
Outside the little storage area. That's why I was thinking. He's probably more pissed off than I'm here. I'm not saying that. I say pigs. I know.
That's why she's mad.
She's so cute.
The dummy is starting to wear off a little bit.
Oh yeah. How many shots they gave you?
They kept going back for more. So a dummy right here, but a dummy right there. I'm like, I can't feel my draw.
But at least you'll have some new pretty teeth. I know you don't think that's all you get, because you have a lot more. Your picture.
You know, I got more stuff.
And she's so smug. Mandolin, I've been saying this since before she got out of prison.
You need to get the rest of your car.
You gonna get my dresses and my stuff that's in my closet?
No, it's the pictures.
No, you have no right to get this.
You get everything else in your order.
Cool. Alright, that's the main important things.
The main important things was for her to get her pictures. Thank you. That was the main important things, for her to get her pictures. Yep. That was the main important thing, for her to get her fucking pictures. After she cheated on him, left him, abandoned the dog, she's more worried about the fucking photos. and yeah, Gypsy believes that Ryan stole her fame because everybody likes Ryan and nobody likes Gypsy. She can't fathom the idea that the reason why nobody likes her is because she fucking cheated on her husband and immediately got pregnant by another dude and has continued to harass, bully, slander, belittle, intimidate, manipulate Ryan for the last year and a half. She can't fathom that it's her own behavior that has caused everyone to dislike her and like him. She thinks that people only like Ryan because they hate Gypsy. That's not why people like Ryan. People like Ryan because Ryan is a genuine, honest, caring, empathetic person who has compassion, morals, integrity, values, and actually understands right from wrong and is honest. Doesn't try to manipulate others, does not try to create drama, does not try to triangulate and manipulate people. That's why people like Ryan. It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that people hate Gypsy. They're two different people, and one is a piece of shit and the other is not. It's pretty simple to see why one is unliked and the other is liked. Very simple. And he's funny and he's charming. Like, she's none of those things. I don't even think if she's ever made a joke. I don't think she's ever made a joke before. Like, there's nothing interesting about her other than the crime that she committed. There's nothing interesting about her. I don't think that there's one thing that has been like, I wonder what Gypsy thinks about that. No. She'll make a joke. Yeah. Yeah, she will. Yep. I don't know when he's gonna go live again. I would assume soon.
And keep.
Jacqueline, I sent you a message. He does. He has a very good personality. And you can tell that he's like a genuine person. Like he's not trying to like portray that he's somebody else. And you can clearly see that Gypsy is trying to pretend to be someone that she's not so that she is more favorable in the public. And it comes across as very inauthentic. And people don't like inauthentic. Hey, William. Hey, Crystal. Hey, Andina. Hey, Linda. Hey, Doodle. I don't really believe she's on birth control this time around. I don't. I think when he goes live, he's going to have a lot to say. I do. I think he's going to have a lot to say about everything that has happened. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed that people are curious about. This video that I just played is one of them. I know people are very curious about this because everyone is on social media like, oh, Ryan was saying that he hadn't seen Gypsy since the day that she left. And, you know, Case was saying that it's been this huge storyline. She walked out and I never saw her again. And they were trying to act like he was lying about seeing her. And that's why I made that video. And I'm like, I don't really consider this him seeing her, like having an actual interaction like we're having here, like a communicative interaction. That was a very hostile situation. And I would not have wanted people to think that this was the last time I saw my significant other was with a police escort and 5 other people or 3 other people. Like, she's taunting him in the video. You can tell she's taunting him. And the point of putting this out publicly was to bully, shame, harass, and abuse him even more. She's in a panic. She's trying to run to YouTube. She's trying to figure out a way to regenerate and revamp her public persona because she's tanked her image pretty significantly in the last couple of months. I mean, she really has. And she did that to herself. Like, Ryan didn't have anything to do with that. She did it to herself. He has been the bigger person throughout the entire thing. I think that that's why people are so frustrated with him, because he has been the bigger person and people want to see him react. People want to see him stand up for himself, because sometimes it feels like when you say nothing, you're giving in and you're not taking a stand for yourself. But I think that because he is, you know, daily working with the children, I think that he always has to think about his career above his feelings and above wanting to be immature and petty and responsive, right? He's always thinking about how are my actions going to potentially impact my career, my job, my future. This is something that Gypsy knows nothing about. Ryan has a career, a life, a future, all of that with his career. And him reacting to her could potentially cause harm to that. And I think that he's being very responsible in how he has approached everything. Does it sometimes feel like, damn, dude, grab a hold of your nutsack and say something? Yes, of course. But we also have to remember that it's not like he works for himself and can just do and say whatever he wants. He has to be controlled so that he doesn't cause future harm to his own personal reputation. Like, she's already causing a lot of harm to his reputation. He doesn't need to do anything to make that worse or to validate her past claims for the things that she's said and done about him. Because sometimes when you react to the things that she is saying, it kind of puts you back in a place where you are validating what she's saying about you, you know? And I think that he's trying to be very protective over his image, his public perception, and his private, how people perceive him in private as well. They are. Victims of narcissistic sociopaths are afraid to speak out. And they're afraid to speak out because we know that our traumas will be used against us. And he knows this. He knows that she is going to try to use his trauma against him, whatever he told her. I'm not saying that he's done something so terribly bad that, it's outrageous. I'm not saying anything like that. But that's what abusers do. They allow you to feel like you can be comfortable with them. You can talk to them about everything that you've gone through. And then they take that information and they weaponize it against you. Good for you, Ren. I've also been in the same situation. I've been abused all my life until like 3 years ago. So it's been a long process. It won't last long at Ken's house because Gypsy has this idea that once she moves into Ken's house that things are going to be better. But she's going to be even more lonely than she was before, because he works, like he has a job. He can't be around her 24 hours a day, 7 days a week like she was with her mom. They are monsters. I'm glad you stood up for yourself, and I'm glad that you got out of that situation. And once they're living in the house together, she's going to expect that things are going to be different, but they're not. They're not going to be different. They're going to be the same as they are now. She's just going to be living there rather than living at Christy's house, going back and forth. It's going to be the same thing. But she has idealized it in her mind that it's going to be different. It's not. It's not going to be different. It's going to be exactly the same. And she's probably going to essentially want Ken to quit his job because she's not getting enough help around the house. She's not getting enough help with the baby. Yeah, it's definitely going to get worse. Oh, yeah. It's going to start out the same, and then it's going to slowly get worse. And my prediction is that she's going to manipulate and harass him into quitting his job. And then if he actually quits his job, it's going to get even worse. Yeah. Because once they can seclude you from every person in your support system, coworkers included, they have all of the control over you, including financial. Yeah. they're gonna do something to hurt one another if they have to be in that home together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah. One of them is gonna end up hurt. You can count on that. And if it's him that's hurt, she's going to accuse him of being violent towards her. If it's her that's hurt, she's going to accuse him of being violent towards her. No matter what happens, Gypsy is going to be the victim. Just remember that, because she's always the victim. Yeah, she'll be the victim again. Yeah, always. She's going to want to isolate him. Yeah. It's going to be a lot. Priscilla, I hope Ken is talking to a lawyer to at least figure out what his options are. Even if he doesn't do anything right now, I hope he has had some sort of consultation. And if he's smart, he will reach out to every single attorney in LaForge Parish, because that will eliminate her ability to find an attorney. Which means that the chances of him getting custody will be highly likely, because none of those attorneys will be able to represent her, because it'll be a conflict of interest. That's what I had to do. I mean, that's what I had to do. You got to do what you got to do. That the attorneys will tell you, yes, you do have to pay consultation fees, but you can take and pay consultation fees to all of the custody attorneys, and then she wouldn't be able to have one. Even if you just talk to them, yes. Even if you just talk to them, it is a conflict of interest, and they cannot represent the other party. Yep. Sometimes you got to play smart, but dirty, you know. It's not like he's technically doing anything wrong. He's just getting information. He just wants to make sure he hires the right attorney, you know? And to do that, you have to make sure that you talk to a lot, to make sure that you're finding the best fit for you and your family. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what Dr. Phil thinks about everything that's going on. Ryan would have definitely made a better husband and father, for sure. I agree. I think that Ryan actually... However, because Ryan cares so much about Gypsy, I could see him potentially being a little neglectful to the child and being overly concerned about Gypsy. Whereas Ken seems to be very concerned about the baby and not overly concerned about Gypsy. So I don't know. I don't know if he would have been a better father. He definitely would have been a better husband to Gypsy. I don't know if he would have been a better father, because sometimes your overwhelming emotions for the mother can cloud your judgment with parenting. And I think that may have created a little bit of a conflict of interest. I think Dr. Phil does have a TikTok. He might. I don't know. I know he has a YouTube. All right, you guys, I gotta go. This conversation has been amazing. I wanted us to be able to get back to prison confessions, but I really wanted us to talk about this clip, because that shit had me so mad. Like, I was so mad for Ryan. I don't even know the guy, and I was like mad for him. Start tag. Yeah, we should. We should. I think Ryan thinks before he speaks. I mean, I feel like he does. It's not Friday yet. It's only Thursday. Thank you. That's so cute. I'm gonna catch up with you this weekend, Roma. I've gotten your messages. I'm gonna text you back. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll start back with the prison confessions. I know my days blend together as well, but it's only Thursday right now. All right, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Love you. Bye.